Hi, everybody, witches of the moon. I am here. It is Wednesday, and this light is doing me no favors. So while I try to figure out how to pull up everybody's chats, hi, everybody. I hope you're all doing well. It is Wednesday. We are halfway through the week. So I hope everybody is having a nice week. And sorry, I am off center. I wanted you to all see my pretty moon tapestry, but you can't, I guess, today. All right, so being that it is just me, I'm going to enjoy the moment of not feeling stressed out and not being overwhelmed because, hey, that's how I get apparently doing lives, but we're just going to roll with it. So this week we are talking about, let me grab my lampshade. We're not talking about grabbing lampshades. We are talking about tarot and reading tarot for yourself and other people. Tarot is such a huge love for me. So I wanted to talk about a few different things in reading, when reading cards, even though I think that a lot of people who practice witchcraft then kind of make the segue into tarot, because for me, they go completely hand in hand. I know they don't for everybody, but I think the majority of people who practice witchcraft also practice reading cards. So I think one of the most important things is picking a deck. So let's just start there, because I think I'm going to stop saying that. In my opinion, having the right deck or decks makes all the difference. So I'm going to show you a few, because I read for other people and I always read for myself. I kind of got in this corona funk and I stopped for a while, and the last week or two I have been fully immersed in all things witchy. So let me show you. There are decks that I use solely for myself that I do not use for other people, because they are connected to me in a way that I feel is very personal, my connection. So let me show you some that I do not use for anybody else. So this is my Wildwood Tarot, right? It's lovely and pagan in all the right ways. So this is just a few of the cards. I'm just taking them off because I read with these literally every day. These are my daily readers. As we move toward Jewel, these are my jam. Okay. So I do not use these. I got these at a time in my life where needing spiritual advice and needing to feel a spiritual safety net was so important to me. My mother was very sick with cancer before she passed away, obviously. It was one of the times that she was in the hospital for a long time, and I went into a Barnes and Nobles, which, who goes into a Barnes and Nobles? They're really overpriced and really crazy expensive. But I ended up finding this deck, and it has been with me for the last, I don't know, 10 years. So that's one that I do not use to read for anybody else. The other one that I use that I do not read for anybody else, and you don't need multiple decks. Let me just start off by saying that. I've been reading tarot since I was 12. I've accumulated a lot over the years, and I've gotten rid of a lot over the years. These are my newer, this deck in particular, some of them are newer. My El Goliath, which I got used for like $25 because they trimmed it, and then I further trimmed it. So this is the El Goliath. I'll show you a couple because they are incredibly stunning. Now this deck I don't use for anybody else, because this deck is only a deck that I use for shadow work. I do not use it any other time. I use this for the purpose of shadow work, and it has knocked me to my butt multiple times. And comes with a little oracle deck, beautiful cards, really, really emotive, and kind of cut to the quick. So my shadow deck, my daily deck, and this deck is like my goddess deck. This deck is the deck, and you can tell it is loved and stiff. And this is the deck that I use when I am either trying to um, commune with the goddess, my goddess in particular, or my guides. Like, this is my spiritual, I'm calling out to you. I need some help. We need to talk. Ancestors, goddess, guides. Um, and this deck, I honestly couldn't even tell you the name of it. I got this deck probably about 6 years ago, and I didn't even get it. A friend gave it to me, bought it for me. An artist at one of the local shops decided she was going to do her own deck, and I think it was like a $12 deck. I don't remember the name of it at all, and I really did not like them when I first got them. It wasn't until about 2 or 3 years ago that I was like, you know what, let me try these. So I don't use these for anybody else. So I think it's important to, for me, in my opinion, is that if you have a deck that you really truly connect with, it's not about, like, I won't cleanse some of these decks. Like, my shadow deck will not get cleansed. I want that. I want that builded energy to stay. I want the energy and what it's taking out, the shadow aspects, the emotional aspects, all of the things that deck is pulling out of me. I want it to have a space. I don't want it to go out into ether. I don't want it to go out into the universe, because it is not pretty and it is not nice energy sometimes. I want it to have a home, because it is, your shadow self is a part of you. I don't want to just cleanse it and get rid of it. It might sound crazy, but that's the way I look at it. It is a part of me, and the part of me that is wounded and hurt, but beautiful. And that's why he keeps those cards. My daily draws, I also don't cleanse, because they stay in one particular area on my altar every day. Especially for the season, because sometimes I do like to change them out according to the time of year, or it's not often that I do that, but sometimes I will get a burning need to use a different deck in the summertime versus the wintertime. So a lot of times my summer deck, my light half of the year, is the Marielle, which is also, you know, really beautiful, and I love this deck. So, I mean, you know, you use what calls to you, but don't assume that if you like the imagery on it that you're going to like the deck. I've made that mistake so many times, but you don't know until it's in your hands. Also, if you don't like the deck, don't be afraid to get rid of it. Don't use it. It's okay. You're not going to connect with every deck. I look at tarot decks as the way I look at people. Like, people sometimes just aren't your cup of tea. And you know what? That's okay. We're all different. So I'll show you one that, I thought I was going to really love. There, I've got a couple of them. The Ostara Tarot. I love the artwork on that. I don't use it. Ever. I don't like it. I don't like the way it reads. I do not connect to that deck at all, but I love it. What was another one that I bought? The Lightseers Tarot. Don't hate me. Beautiful, stunning imagery. I do not like working with those cards at all. So this was a Kickstarter deck that I got. The Stolen Child Tarot. Again, beautiful. I mean, it's really stunning. I don't connect with it. I'm going to hold on to them, see how it goes. So for me, it's important to have the separation of decks, of what decks I use to read for other people and what decks are solely mine. The ones that I use to read for other people are, I've noticed a lot of my clients like Crystal Visions Tarot, and I can't stand that one. Not that I can't stand it, just doesn't resonate for me for personal readings. It is a great client reader. It is my trusty go-to for that. But I can't stress how important I think it is to separate home and work, right? So your home life, when you're reading for yourself, is home, but then you go to work. So if you're going to work, you don't want to take work home with you in the energetic sense of it. I don't want to take work home with me. So those are decks that I will 100% wipe clean after every single reading because I do not want the overflow of somebody else's energy linking to that deck, nor do I want to take that deck and have it go on to the next client. So I think that's, important. And if you just have one deck and you're content with having one deck and you enjoy cleansing it, that by all means is appropriate for you. I would really be happy with two decks. My deck, oh, that's not true at all. That's not true at all. I need like five. I need five at the least. So, but I worked with the Londa Tarot, which is now out of print. I worked with that deck solely. Client readings, personal readings. I loved that deck. And it wasn't until the last couple of years that I've really started having a collection. But before that, I did everything with that deck. It was my personal reader, it was my money reader. Now, I also didn't, um, I didn't cleanse properly at all, because I was unaware and, kind of dummy. But it's all about growth. It's all about your own intuition. What's comfortable for me isn't going to be comfortable for you. But at least I feel like you need to have a very base idea when you're going into reading for other people of how to protect yourself, how to protect your client from your own energies, and making sure that your energy is in control so that you don't feed into what their reading might be. I think it's a balance to play, but if you can do it, it can be something so incredible. And you know that just by reading for yourself, right? If you're reading for yourself and you're getting these great and really intuitive answers, then, who am I to say anything else? You just kind of have to go with your gut. I'm just trying to give some guidelines of doing this for so long, and things that I found through, that took me 15 years. It took me 15 years to realize, wow, I've really benefited from having a deck for shadow work, a deck to communicate, and a daily drawer. I don't often read Oracle, so I don't, every once in a blue moon I'll pull an Oracle card out. But and then it's nice to have your trusty decks of ones that you connect with, and the ones you can read that pick up really well for the energy of other people. But these are all things that you learn over time, and that you learn, unfortunately, by spending a ridiculous amount of money, because tarot cards are not always cheap. So I'm always one to say, hey, if you can get it used, go for it. Cleanse it, meditate with it, see if you like it, because it becomes a money pit. If you're a good reader, you can make up for it in a couple sessions, then awesome. I was not that way when I first started reading. So I think it's just personal preference, and not setting an expectation of the cards. The cards know their job. When they mix with your energies, they're going to let you know, hey, I'm not for you, but I'll work. Or, you know what, we're going to dig it out deep today. Or, the guides are calling. Why aren't you listening? Answer the door. They're knocking. And once you start forming this relationship with tarot, once you start really getting into the energy of the the spirit world of this, right? Almost like a hedge witch. I think that's the term of what it is now, more shamanic, of this in between place. There are times for me where if I don't do anything, I will literally feel a pounding on my brain. That's when I know I need to pick up the tarot, because I am not connecting to what's happening around me, and there is something trying, like there's something knocking, something is happening. So it is so important, it is important to be able to build that relationship. They are not just a deck of cards. They are a conduit for your energy, and a doorway to the spirit side. So it's so important to honor that, and to recognize when it's ready, and when you're ready and you have the right deck. So I hope that everybody, obviously It's my opinion. Take it with a grain of salt, but I hope I was able to shed a little bit of light if you're new and looking to get started in reading. It's so exciting and it's so much fun. And don't be discouraged if the first, deck doesn't work. If the first deck is not your cup of tea and you don't connect to it, it's okay. That doesn't mean that you have failed at being an intuitive reader. You just need to find the right deck. You need to find the one that really, really speaks to you. And sometimes they come in the most unexpected forms. They're not always going to be the deck of your dreams. Like one of my other daily drawers that I love beyond love is Beautiful Creatures, the second edition. I couldn't tell you why. I have no idea why. I didn't want that deck either. It was gifted to me and it sat on the shelf. And one day I took it out to play with it, and the faces on that thing had something to say. So, you know, um, I think sometimes it can come in really mysterious ways, and you kind of just got to follow your gut and trust that the universe has something to say to you. Okay, I think I have said enough on tarot and reading for others. Protect yourself, you know, really, and before you jump in for reading for other people, it's very it's exciting when you decide you're going to do that, but really make sure that you are, like I said earlier, that you are able to control the energy, because if you're not, let me tell you, it's not going to be good. It's not going to be easy for you. I did before I learned how to do protection and lay down things for myself, I did a past life reading for someone who I'm very connected to. She's my best friend. And by the end of the reading, I was completely gray. My face, she was like, "Are you sick?" And she's like, "Have you been doing this sick?" I wasn't sick. My all of my energy was drained out because I was doing this reading, and I wasn't keeping my own cup full. I was pouring it and pouring it and pouring it and pouring it. And by the time I was done, I was nauseous, I was pale, I was exhausted. So, really understand your own energy and how, um, and make sure that you stay within the bounds, within the boundaries of your comfortability level, especially if you're a beginner, or experience if it's not something that if you don't read for someone but you want to, you know baby steps. Really practice meditation, practice the grounding, practice really getting a feel for your own energy, because once you start dumping it out, sometimes it's hard to control, especially if there's messages, and you become the conduit, because then you are essentially not there. It is just, you are a tool at that point. The cards are a minor tool, and you are the major tool, because you are the one getting the message. You are the one that has to deliver this. So really protect yourself and make sure that you don't you know you don't deplete your own energy in the process, because if you deplete yours, you leave space for you know other space, other energy to fill up. So you want to make sure you stay protected and you stay full. That way there are no outside energies that are coming in anymore. It is just, you're just getting the information and not the energy. Okay. So you guys have a beautiful night, and I hope you are all doing wonderful, and I will see you next week. All right. Bye, guys.